Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our English language programme, Heart to Heart, here on Angelus TV. I'm Sister Mary, and my guest this afternoon is Costina Cherouz. I met Costina in our French parish, and I'm delighted that she accepted this invitation. So,
thank you very much for inviting me.
Welcome, Costina. Thank you. I'm delighted to.
I'm happy, and I'm really honored, and I'm happy that we can chat for a bit more than 5 minutes in front of the church.
Yeah, because really this is Heart to Heart. It's a nice title, isn't it? It's supposed to be
exactly
just a heart-to-heart conversation.
Exactly.
So, Costina, what I've seen of you is practicing Catholic, mother of 2 small children, and you're an actress.
Yes.
So, is there a difference between roles and identity? So,
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. Identity is identity, and imagine I'm on stage every week impersonating different characters. So I cannot play myself all the time. It would be boring and it wouldn't be appropriate for the play. I play Romanian or international plays from different eras. So, of course, you feed your character with your own experience, but you adjust it to the play you are in. So, yes, there is a difference between character and identity.
Thank you. And can you tell us a little bit about the identity of being a Catholic? Was there a journey towards being a Catholic, or did you grow up in a Catholic family?
No, I was born Orthodox, and I used to go to church for Easter and Christmas with my grandma. My parents, they were not very much practicing, but I used to go with my grandma sometimes. As a child, I felt having a very special relationship with somebody. I didn't know how to call him, it. But I knew that I was loved, I felt special, I felt protected, I felt that I have a direct channel of communication with somebody who was loving me very much. And slowly, I realized that I started losing this connection when I started lying. In life, as a child, you start saying little lies. And I was feeling something was breaking and I was sad. At one point, I didn't feel the same direct communication. I still feel loved, I still feel that I received a lot of gifts, and sometimes maybe I don't use them enough, but it was special. I discovered Catholicism, so this is what I felt, but I didn't know too much about Orthodoxy, about Christianity, I didn't know. Then I met my husband, Denis. He's French and he's Catholic. He's very Catholic, and I like this. And I discovered he brought me to church. I discovered church because, first of all, I was curious, as he goes, since I met him, he goes every Sunday to church, wherever he is. So first I was curious to be with him, to see why. And then it became a necessity, it became second nature, and now we go together to church every Sunday with our kids. And I chose, he didn't push me, but I chose to become Catholic because basically I found my answers in Catholic Church. I found my questions and some of the answers of these questions in Catholic Church. My kids are Catholics, and basically I'm living as a Catholic, even if I was baptized Orthodox, the practice is Catholic.
I was fascinated by your story of a sense of a relationship with God that you couldn't put a name on, and the awareness of moving away from that relationship, because I had the same thing.
I think kids, they don't say it, But I think they managed to have this honest communication with God, and that with life, when we are covered with dirt and we don't fight for the connection, we slowly lose it. But if you go to church every Sunday, you practice your faith. You are begging for your connection to come back. You are begging, because even if you know it with your brain, if you don't feel it with your heart, the same way you used to do it as a child, because you don't have too many informations when you are a child, but you feel so clear. Well, if you go every Sunday to church, maybe this would help.
Yes, so maybe our first intimation of God is through the heart, and
I
we
think
forget
so.
that.
I think so, yes. But then you also have to put your brain into it and discover things and put things together. Sometimes during the Mass, just thinking, praying, I have some, I don't know if revelations, but I receive some answers.
If we're open to it.
And this comes also from the questions you put yourself, and you want to understand and you want to receive answers. So yes, it is with the heart, and I think Christianity is under this big feeling called loved, under the protection of love, but we also have to question ourselves, to try to understand, to put questions to ourselves, to God. I think it should be a little bit to make a sense.
So imagine that in the world of the theatre and the arts, it's quite
Noisy.
Or
No, it's not rare.
No?
No, it's not rare.
Ah.
No, we have the feeling that it's rare, but it's not rare at all.
Ah.
We are not so noisy. Let's say, if we compare some Christian actors with some not Christian actors, the Christians, they're not so noisy because we don't shout it. We are Christians, we are Christians, we are Christians.
We live it.
Yes. The other gang probably needs to be a little bit more noisy to state some things. I don't know. But no, we are not so few. On the contrary, you would be amazed.
And Costina, how is it for a Christian to get into role? How do you allow the character to enter you? And are there some characters that you would refuse to play?
Yes, I would refuse to play some character. Now, when I was young, I didn't think of that. Well, creating a character means putting yourself, your body, your soul, your feelings, your identity, your history, putting yourself at work for that character to be born. So you use your body to create another character. So, of course, first of all, you have to understand the way that character thinks, and according to your experience and according to the information you have about the character, you create the way of thinking of the character, which could be a good character or a maleficent one. Nobody's perfect, and when you create beautiful characters, there is nothing like black and white, black or white. There are nuances. But when we talk about characters which are a sign and emblem of evil, like, for example, Lady Macbeth, right now, I would say no to it.
Even such a big role like that
Yes.
would be...
Because I think it would cost me too much. Me, I believe in the power of words. And I believe that when we say something and we mean it, it can really change something in the universe. Because when you say to somebody every day, I love you, I love you, I love you, that person is going to be happy. But if I say to somebody every day, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, that person is not going to be very, let's say, healthy
Yeah, the
after
power
a while.
of words.
So when you are Lady Macbeth and you have to believe what you say, and you say those words to the maleficus, the evil spirit to come, and it would cost me too much. So I would refuse it.
It had never occurred to me before that an actor has to enter into both the body and the mind and the heart and the soul.
Yes, and when you cry with your own tears. And when you are happy, this brings you personally joy too. For example, if I have an evening when I play a comedy. At the end of the show, I have a very good vibe.
Yeah.
If on the contrary, if on the contrary you have to impersonate somebody who is sad, who is not loved, who is not have one of these characters, there is this catharsis. You consume something, but I feel exhausted. After you cry 5 minutes on stage and people are watching it, and we are happy to be seen crying on stage, that's why we want to be actors too, you're tired. And if the message you give could help people being happier, doing something with their lives, if this would influence people in action to good, then I think it is worth. But if there's some place where you create some characters and a story, and at the end of the show you go home and you're upset with your wife, with your kids, with your wife, with your country, I would say no.
Right. Okay. So there are limits.
Yes, there are limits. I think that there are actors who, I don't judge, but I think that there are some actors who want to be actors for fame, and all the love they're capable of goes towards themselves. And I think there are others who do this job out of love for the human nature, because you want to be other people, to recreate other people's lives, because you love human nature, because you love life, and because you like to observe and to understand why somebody behaves like this, where it comes from, this behavior, why somebody speaks like this, why somebody reacted like this, because there are always reasons, and this is fascinating about people. Absolutely fascinating. Even when you see somebody who is unbearable, that person has some reasons. I'm not sure he was born a devil. I think there were some things in his life that brought him there. And I'm curious to know why. What brought him there?
Is that curiosity something that's really important for an
Absolutely. Actor? Absolutely. But not only curiosity about the others, but curiosity about yourself. I was telling my husband, and he said he never thought of that. I said, you know, when you have this job of mine, you see around and you observe, but you pay attention to yourself too. Of course, you're not a robot, and you don't have two lives. One that when I'm living now, and now the second life where I'm looking at myself. But every time I have strong feelings, I'm aware of them. It's a reflex. I think we are taught like this, because when I'm gonna be on stage and I'll have to be extremely happy, I will remember. It was like that, happiness. And then I would fit my happiness with the happiness of the character, because it has to be in that character who's not exactly me. So, or if on stage I'm extremely hurt, I'm sure that I'm gonna find in my life one moment when I was extremely hurt, and what exactly did I feel in my whole body.
Do you know what it reminds me of, Christina, just thinking that for myself, I practice a lot of mindfulness, being aware of how I'm feeling. So if something happens and my emotion changes, I try to see where that's coming from. Why am I reacting so strongly to that? And it feels a little bit similar to what you're saying.
Yeah, probably. And you managed to use it and control?
Yes.
Well, in my real life, it doesn't really work all the time, especially when I interact with my kids.
Yes.
You know, I know that I should not shout from the beginning, but sometimes it doesn't. My mindfulness doesn't work very well sometimes.
For me also. But I have become more aware of my reactions and more in control of, not letting the emotion dominate me.
Yes.
Maybe something like that. So maybe we meet on that level.
I'm sure.
And we talked earlier about conversion. Actually, we both had a similar experience of realizing that when we're not truthful, we're moving away from God.
Yes.
Whatever name we've given to God. I wonder whether, when you're playing a role, have you ever had a conversion experience or something different, a different kind of experience because of playing a certain role? For instance, while you're thinking, when I went to see The Merchant of Venice at the theatre, I found myself very preoccupied by that afterwards, just thinking, how do we let go of the need for vengeance, or how do we keep in balance what is just and what needs mercy?
I don't know if I had a conversion, but it's true that with this job, it comes this permanent thinking of values, of the need of love, of principles. But I don't know if I ever had a epiphany.
Okay.
I don't know. I never had such a character to be so strong, to make me realize something that I didn't already know.
Okay.
I told you that I think I had more answers in church than in theater. And then it's true that probably if I was not an actress but a spectator, maybe it would have been different, because that's our duty, let's say. Our duty is to open people's minds and people's hearts. So probably we assume that we already know some things and we help the others. I don't know.
Okay, fascinating.
I think we are here to put a mirror in front of the people and help them seeing themselves, seeing their souls without being hurt, because we have a interface. And I think this is our job, to help people seeing themselves, seeing what's bad in them, what's good in them, and trying to work on themselves and help them.
What a wonderful mission in life to have with it.
Yes, that's why I think it's important to choose the place you are in, what message you want to give, to transmit. For me, it's important.
And I think the first time I heard your voice was actually at the launch of an Angelus program.
Yes.
And you read a psalm. And I was very moved, and I found myself reflecting on the power of voice. And I think in poetry, you have a different role. So you're trying to communicate and affect people maybe, or elicit a response through the voice. So is that something that's also dear to your heart? And did that begin at the same time, or
I always loved poetry. This is my nature. I think there are people who fit with poetry, and there are others who, I don't know, maybe they think, like they think about opera, that they don't like it or they don't understand it. Me, I always liked it. I don't know, it's a gift. As a child, I loved poetry. Not all the poetry, because I think that the poets are those people who are able to rebuild in words some universes that we know too, but we don't have those words to put them exactly in the same rhythm as they did. And I think that when you discover the universe, you are so happy that somebody created those images so strong, and you can say what you feel with their words. So I think this is poetry. Probably voice helps, but I think also the detection of that universe, the images that you create.
Because there's enough space in the words to create your own universe from the poem that you're hearing or reading. Or should poetry always be spoken?
No, in fact, I think that the real value of poetry is when you read it for yourself, not for the others.
Okay.
I know that, I recorded some poetry during the COVID period, and they were online. And there were a lot of people saying, thank you so much for doing this. Because, when I read those poems, they don't sound so nice. Me, I think they don't take the time to really think about it. So for some people, it's helpful. It's like somebody who cannot read, and you read a story for him. But anybody can learn reading. And I'm happy to give this to people. But deep in my soul, in my mind, I think that poetry is to be read at home quietly, because it's very personal.
Almost like prayer.
Maybe not like prayer, but yes, it's very intimate.
Yeah. So, talking about poetry, would you be willing to share for us your voice and a poem that means something to you?
Of course, I came prepared. Look, I came with a poem by Ana Blandiana. Ana Blandiana is a Romanian poet that I love. And I came with a poem called Parents. The Parent.
The Parents.
The Parents.
Different from parents.
Părinții.
Yeah.
It's going to be in Romanian. And it's like that. Părinții fac totul, oricând pentru noi. Ne nasc și ne cresc mai mari decât ei. Rămân apoi cu discreție în urmă. Nu ne deranjează de obicei. Li e rușine că sunt prea bătrâni, prea bolnavi pentru noi, prea modești și prea simpli părinți. Vinovați pentru timpul pierdut, ne privesc în tăcere, cu minți. Apoi își mută privirea în stea, când raza înglodată de cer se subție. Și obosiți, nu pregetă o clipă să ni se așeze în pământ temelie. I thought of my parents reading this, and I love them, and I really appreciate them, and I think that we owe a lot to our parents, generally speaking, even if we don't think too much of that. And I don't take the time to tell them too many times that I love them and I really appreciate them.
It's very true. One of my regrets is that I never said that clearly enough to my mum. I did to my dad, and I realised that he kept the little message that I wrote.
I'm
It
sure.
was still in his pocket when he died, and it was buried with him. So thank you so much, Costina.
You're very much
for
welcome.
sharing with us your passion for theatre, your voice that transmits so much,
Thank you so much.
and your personal life, which has enriched me. And it's been a real joy.
Thank you so much. For me
meet you
too.
At this level. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. And may this time of preparation during Advent or at any point in the year bring you peace and a sense that your own calling in life is where God wants you. Thank you. Bye-bye.